Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Fab Mancini, and I'm so excited that you were able to join me. And, I want to talk to you about this topic of solving obesity, the obesity epidemic as a chiropractor. For me, many of you know that I love this profession. And I still remember when I chose to become a chiropractor because I think uh, at that time, which was over 35 years ago, I recognized that prevention was the key to somebody being healthy long term. And one of the things that I know has grown tremendously over the last 35 years is this thing we call obesity. And we all know that inflammation and also obesity have actually been the foundational things for most chronic illnesses out there, like heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, and many others. I was trying to figure out what is it that we need to do in order to be able to serve more people as a doctor of chiropractic. And my intention with these webinars is to bring you the latest information, the latest products, the latest technologies, the latest services, the latest that I see is actually making a difference out there in doctors of chiropractic offices. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I know that many times we are so busy in our practices that we don't have a chance to really see what's going on out there. And because I've been mentoring over 100 chiropractors out there that are very, very successful, I get to see what's working and what's not working out there. I get to see these roller coasters, and people get so excited about a service or marketing thing that is working. And then the next 2 months is like, oh, that's not working any longer. And they get frustrated. So today, what I want from you is very simple. I want to keep you hopefully to less than 20 minutes. And I want you to stay through the whole program because we're going to have a very special thing for you at the end. But more importantly, I want you to truly understand what I'm seeing. And in order to help me with this, I invited my dear friend, Jonathan Jones. He's in invisa-RED vice president. And one of the things I love about Jonathan is that he's one of the biggest obesity experts out there that is actually making a difference and helping us, doctors of chiropractors, make a difference. So the first slide is going to show you the transition of what's really going on in the obesity world. Now, I get to see the CDC, and this is actually CDC data that came out recently in 2021, which, as you can see, in 2011, there were only 12 states that had obesity that had 30 to 35%. That's when we began this concept of we have to keep an eye on obesity. And people started recognizing that people were beginning to gain a lot of weight. And then on 2012, we raised by one state. But what I wanted you to see is look at the growth that happened in a short amount of time right after that within the last 9 years. We went from 70 states that are 30 to 35%. States that were 30 to 35% in obesity rate to over 35%. Some of these states are almost 60% in obesity in their particular states. So now you can see that the blue, which is under 35%, it starts getting to the point that now it becomes more red. And not only that we actually have almost 41 of our states that are past the 35% rate. So the reason that I wanted to show you this is because many times I have told you over the past, the best way that we can serve more people is by talking about topics that are relevant to them. I know as a doctor of chiropractic, I want to talk chiropractic all day long and I want to shout it to the world, but that doesn't mean that they're listening. But you start talking about something that they get to see in that mirror every day, something that they don't feel good about, something that's making them sick, like obesity, and now you have their attention. So take a look at the next slide. Now, all of a sudden, we see that in the United States, this is a chart that just came out that is comparing the US adults and children against the rest of the world. Remember, we're one country. This is the rest of the world. And this nation is over 66% of its adults are overweight. When you compare the rest of the world, everything else, all the billions of people out there, remember, we're less than 400 million people. We got over 7 billion. So these 400 million or less are 66% of the obesity in the world, when the rest of the world is just 37% of adults. But look at our children. Almost 30% of our children in the United States today are obese. That is ridiculous. I don't know why we cannot reverse this. And as doctors of chiropractic, I hope that you will join me in this mission to eradicate obesity. And the rest of the world, all those other countries' children, 14%. In the next slide is another slide that recently came out. And it was coming out from Harvard that was estimating that by the year 2030, we're going to have nearly half of Americans. That means all adult and children that are going to be obese. Now, I want you to understand that that is, to me, extremely sad, because we already know the challenges of obesity. And Stephen Gortmaker, which is a professor of practice of health sociology at Harvard, he said obesity, and especially severe obesity, which is rising every single day, as you can see here, over 50 to 59% by 2030 are going to be severe obesity. That's over 50% of the obesity scale. And he says that this is all associated with chronic disease and medical spending, and also, of course, the negative consequences of life expectancy. So my challenge is the fact that we're moving in a tsunami of obesity that is going to wipe out the majority of the people out there. And I know that we, as chiropractors, can be a solution of it. In the next slide, you're going to see what is it that obesity is associated with when it comes to the different conditions out there. So when it comes to the heart, you have infarction, stroke, hypertension, angina pectoris, atherosclerosis, obesity of the heart. These are all the conditions that are associated with obesity that are leading to the #1 killer in the United States, heart disease. Then you go into diabetes, right? The CDC is predicting that we're going to have over 40% of America diabetic by the year 2030. This is ridiculous. We can reverse all of this. Cholecystitis, pancreatitis, gastritis, violation of endocrine function of the pancreas, ureolymphosis disease, obesity of the liver, constipation. These are all the conditions that are affected by obesity. And then, of course, gout, osteoarthritis, osteochondrosis, spondylolisthesis, cystitis, and fat foodness. So I wanted you to share this is because, in my opinion, if we were to tackle one thing that the world out there is dealing with, that I know we can help, is obesity. Because I know that right now, you're sitting with the majority of your patients that are obese, but what are you offering to them? And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And then in the next slide, I'm going to share with you that as I'm talking to people in the media, in my TV, radio, and podcasts, everything that I do on a daily basis, we realize that people's visual is that they will do more to lose weight so they can look good than they will do to get adjusted so they can feel good. We've seen that. They will spend a fortune, including cosmetic surgery that is at an all-time rise, but they won't pay to get a chiropractic adjustment on a frequent basis to actually live the best health that they can possibly live. So we're dealing with not only something that is associated with chronic illnesses and chronic diseases, something that is actually the foundation for many of the reasons that people are sick, but we're dealing with the psychology of individuals that when they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. And if you can offer them an answer, if you can offer them a solution, I promise you they're going to be your patient for life. So in the next slide, I said to myself, okay, but let me bring it down to you as a doctor of chiropractic. So these are the things that obesity does to an individual. Obesity actually makes your curves worse when it comes to your cervical spine. It makes your thoracic spines excessive. That means that you are going to be carrying all that weight. So therefore, you're going to be leaning forward. And that's what many people call the hunchback. And then, of course, in the lumbar spine, where it's typically where we see the big portion of where obesity, now all of a sudden you have the opportunity to help these people. So the reason that I'm bringing this to your attention is because I know you have been trained by me and many others that as a doctor of chiropractic, you're going to talk about their spine, you're going to talk about their nervous system, and you're going to mostly talk, hopefully, about their lifestyle. But I want you to begin to talk about their obesity. You as a wellness provider, as a holistic provider, is an opportunity that many of us are not doing. I have some of my clients that have implemented, weight loss programs in order to draw more people in order to educate them not only about losing weight, but also beginning to recognize the value of chiropractic. But the problem with most of those things is that many of those programs are based primarily on nutrition changes or perhaps exercise modifications. And the problem is that your patients already know that they need to eat better and they need to work out more. They already know that. So those programs don't tend to work as good. Believe me, I have seen hundreds of practices begin to promote weight loss in their practices only to be frustrated after a period of time. So what I did is that I started researching out there, and in the next slide, I will show you, I started researching what it is that is going over there. And I found this is where Jonathan and I met, because I heard Jonathan speak about this subject matter, and I realized that he had found solutions through technology. And this is a lot of technology that is new, but hundreds of clinics right now are operating in a way that they're having tremendous success because of this technology. So, Jonathan, would you share with us a little bit about your research and how is it that the science of really losing weight has come to, and why is it that the FDA was able to grant you permission to have technology that actually chiropractors can use in their practice and be able to help people with their obesity problems?
Definitely. Thank you so much for the intro, Dr. Fab. So yeah, when we began in 2014 and we were looking for the market to sell this device to, we kind of honed in on the chiropractic side after meeting with a couple of the chiropractic groups. And we saw, within the United States, chiropractic reaches about 8 to 12% of Americans across the country. When we compare that to the amount of Americans in the country that actually need like weight loss services, we find that almost 70% of the US is overweight or obese. And of that remaining percentage, about half of them are considering some form of cosmetic surgery. So those would be like your aesthetics patients. So combined, that industry covers about 85 to 88% of America. So a great way for the chiropractic side to actually expand the practice's reach and find more potential chiropractic patients through weight loss is by actually advertising weight loss. But the challenge is actually having a device that can see those results. So that's why on our side, we had to go through the clinical trials to actually prove that the device was able to pull off that. So we'll jump into those clinical trials here shortly. But what was awesome is this device is FDA and clinically proven for fat reduction, weight reduction, and inch loss. The actual device is what you see here on the left side of the screen. It comes with 12 paddles that you apply directly to the patient's skin. And it's only a 15-minute treatment. So it's super, super easy and quick for your patients, but it's also stuff that is handled by your staff. It's completely staff driven. It does not require you as the chiropractor to be the one actually running the service line. So background on our company. So again, we were established in 2014. We are the medical device manufacturer for the unit. We also developed the technology. We're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have over 1,200 providers nationwide, with 60% of those clinics falling into the chiropractic side, and the remaining 40% made up of the medical and aesthetics market. As far as our clinical trials go, so what our device was actually able to prove during our clinicals, which took place over 3 weeks, were that patients lost on average 1.75% body fat and 4.5 pounds of body fat in 10 inches during the timeline of our clinical trial. That clinical trial took place again over 3 weeks. Patients received a total of 9 treatments, so they were coming in 3 times a week for those 3 weeks. There was no diet or exercise done during the clinical trials, and there were 0 adverse reactions as well. One of my favorite stats from the clinical trials was actually the pounds of body fat lost, which was 4.5 pounds. When we divide that by the number of treatments, 9, that works out to be a 0.5 pound of fat lost during one 15-minute treatment. If you look at it in terms of fat or energy metabolized per treatment, works out to be about 1,800 calories per treatment. And all the patient's doing is coming in and laying down. So that's the actual clinical side of it. Obviously, the next question is, how were we actually able to see these results? It all comes down to the technology we're using. So what we have is a non-invasive cold laser. The frequencies we're using are 680 and 980. So that's going to be a red and infrared frequencies. Those frequencies we have, they're patented, the technology is patented with us. The reason we're at infrared 980 is that has the highest coefficient of energy absorption into the adipose tissue. When we're able to absorb the infrared into the adipose tissue, we're able to stimulate the process of cellular respiration and ATP synthesis within the adipolytic cells. This is going to help with the release of lipids and toxins from the fat cells, but it's also going to help increase the patient's lymphatic health and promote a healthy detoxification within their body. What's awesome is, again, you have the clinicals, you have the FDA 510K backing the system, but it also delivers instant results for the patients as well. After that initial 15-minute treatment, the patient's going to see on their post measurement that you pulled about 1 to 2 inches off of their waist, and all they did again was lay down for 15 minutes. Production-wise, you can do about 3 to 4 patients an hour, and it's again completely unattended. So this is done by your CA or even your front desk, as long as they've gone through training, which our staff trains them on that. As long as they've gone through training, they'll be able to operate the laser, and it does not require a medical director to oversee the program at all either. As far as what this would look like for your patients. So when you have them come in for that initial consult, you'll let them try the device, they'll see the results right away. And then you actually move into taking them in on the consult. So national average on pricing works out to be about $1,200 for 12 sessions. So roughly the patient's paying $100 a session. That's going to include 2 to 3 laser treatments per week. If they can come in 3 times a week, that's great because we can stretch their sessions out over 4 weeks, which is going to take them out about a month. During that month, we expect them to lose about 6 pounds of fat from the laser alone. And that's in line with the clinicals, no diet or exercise change. Now, if they make those diet and exercise changes, they can see even better results. And a lot of times what you'll find is when the patients, they've reached that point where they are signing up for the weight loss package, they're now more motivated because they have more money into the game. So the patient's going to be motivated to make those lifestyle changes like nutrition and exercise. We do provide plans for them to kind of help guide them along that path. The patients that follow that, they can expect to lose anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds of body fat per month. But what's awesome is, again, regardless of whether or not they make those lifestyle changes, we know that they are going to see at least a 0.5 pound of fat per treatment based on the fact that we are the only FDA cleared and clinically proven device for fat reduction, weight reduction, and inch loss, which is something we take a lot of pride in. And it's something that you'll actually be able to market to. So like you'll actually be able to have a device where you can market the service line of weight loss, have the patient come in and actually have a device that's truly for weight loss, not just inch loss. When you look at all the other like clinicals out there, you'll see a bunch of inch loss. With us, we were actually able to prove fat reduction. As far as treatments go, they're non-invasive, they're pain-free, and there's no downtime. It's a 15-minute session. So again, you can do 3 to 4 patients an hour. It is safe for daily use, and you can do multiple areas on the same day. Your most common treatment areas are going to be across the abdomen, across the lower back, upper back, like bra strap area, and then the front and back of thighs. But we can do treatments all over the body. So we can do cheeks, jaw, chin, neck area. We can do the arms, biceps, triceps, and armpits, as well as the waist, the back, hips, thighs, hamstrings, and glutes, as well as the chest for men. On this slide, it just kind of showcases a lot of the success that a lot of fellow chiropractors have seen with this device. So in the first one, we have Dr. Lidstrom. Within the first 2 weeks of bringing in the invisa-RED system, they were able to collect almost $42,000, and they even went ahead and bought a second machine. On the right side, you'll see Dr. Lance, who he's been with us for about 4 years now. And what was awesome with him is he loves it that it's a great promotional tool, helps bring people in the practice for weight loss, and then he can flip them into chiropractic. And then real quick, I have like a 30-second video to share with y'all from a kind of like a montage from a lot of our providers.
We've got over $30,000.
The day was super successful.
21,619.
Had a total of $37,200.
He made $70,000 in 2.5 days.
100% success rate with
We collected a total of $36,000.
43,495.
as much in collections in 16 hours as I did in half a month.
You know, followed the plan, we did exactly what they said, and they came out, and in 2.5 days, we smashed the record. We did $70,000 in sales.
So obviously, when you see those videos, it's always the next thing you want to know is like, well, how did they do that? So the way they did that is they followed our business system. When you become a client with us, you have full access to our training team, where we go through all of the online training portals with you and your staff. And you'll have a specific rep assigned to your clinic to guide y'all through the training process. So they'll go over all the laser safety, usage, and clinician certification with y'all to make sure your staff is educated and knowledgeable on the system. But they also roll into what we call is our sales training. So during that sales training, that's where we're going over how to take the consults with the patients, how to actually close the weight loss packages with the patients. So we've seen a lot of great success there on the client side. And you know, in the videos, a lot of them are referencing how they made a lot of money at the beginning of implementing the system. The way they did that is what we call our demo days. So the rep will kind of instruct you on how to lay this out, but really all you're going to do is activate your internal patient base. Let them know that, hey, we're bringing in a new fat reducing laser. We'd love for you to come in and try it. Let them try it for free. They'll come in, they'll see the results right away, because the device pretty much sells itself. When they come in, you have the backing of the FDA, you have the clinical trial backing, and you have that they'll actually see results right away. It makes it a super, super easy sale for your staff. And then in addition to all the the training, we also include 60 days of paid marketing, where we're actually buying advertising for y'all to help drive patients to the practice. On average, that's going to bring in anywhere from 20 to 30 consults per month to the practice. From there, you know, the average clinic, they close about 70% of those consults. And you're going to be selling these packages for about $1,200 for 12 sessions. So it makes it super, super easy to actually add this as a profitable service line that doesn't require any of like your hands-on time as a provider, because it's all staff driven. In addition to the paid advertising that we run on Facebook and Instagram, we also you have full access to our graphics team. So any type of graphic design, content design, ad work, video editing, anything like that you might need from a graphics team, our team can create, as long as it relates to invisa-RED, we can create it for y'all. And then we also have the patient nutrition and lifestyle guide for y'all to share with your patients to help them make those lifestyle changes. And then as far as pricing goes, so on the pricing on the system's $49,995. We do have financing available. What's awesome is the banks that we use, a lot of them have no prepayment penalties. So you can pay off the principal balance of the loan at any point during the loan without having to pay any of the future interest or anything like that. The monthly payment comes out to be about $985 a month over a 60-month term. We do have options to go shorter terms if that's what you opt for. And then we also have 3-month deferment options built in too, where you can actually defer your first payment for 3 months. So it creates a lot of flexibility for y'all as y'all are getting onboarded and set up with this new service line. If this was something you wanted to do and bring into the to the practice. Obviously, the first thing to do would be to knock out the financing. Once the credit app's completed, which takes 2 minutes, we normally hear back from the bank within 24 to 48 hours, depending on what time of day we submit the app. From there, once we have financing all squared away, docs are signed, that's when we start your equipment build, QC, and delivery process. That process takes us about 3 to 4 weeks. During that time, though, that's when we begin your onboarding and clinician training. We can knock out training in as quick as a week. If your staff would prefer to spread it out, they can spread it out over 2 or 3 weeks. It goes at y'all's own pace, but you'll have a rep assigned to y'all. So they're there to go with y'all at the pace that y'all want to go. You'll start your internal marketing 2 weeks prior to your launch event. So that's where we're referring to, like, bringing in people for that internal demo day that you're going to do. So you'll be telling everybody that you see on the chiropractic side, hey, we're bringing in a fat loss laser. Love for you to come in and try it. You'll be doing that for the 2 weeks leading up to your launch event, and then you're ready to launch your weight loss program. If this was something that, it is interesting to you and that you're interested in learning more about, my contact info is on the bottom of the slide. Highly encourage you to take a picture of it. You can reach me on either my cell, which is 678-333-4579, or via email, and my email is jonathan@invisa-REDtech.com.
Well, Jonathan, by the way, thank you so much for that. I do believe that you were extremely efficient with your words, and the information is crazy good. To me, as you know, I got a unit as soon as I heard you speak at the A4M conference that we were both at in Las Vegas. And one of the things that I love about this is the science, because I want to make sure that when I do something for myself or my patients, that I'm actually getting people that have the ability to get well with whatever I'm suggesting. I believe in chiropractic, and I believe in the science of chiropractic. And that's the reason that I continue to promote chiropractic everywhere I go. But I also know that we have a big problem with obesity, as all of you heard me say early on. And this is one technology that I have been extremely impressed with, because when you have 1,200 clinics that have success after success after success, and if it would have shown you all the videos that I've seen and all my friends that have called me over the years, oh my God, this was the best investment I made. I can't believe that, it took me so much time to find out about them and all that. I just don't want you to miss out. If this is something that resonates with you, then call Jonathan and get more information, or email him. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to schedule a consult with you and maybe even show you a virtual demo of what is possible. So that way you have an opportunity to really make an informed decision and make sure that this is the right thing for you. That's really, to me, what really is important in all of this. So make sure that you take a picture of this slide, so that way you have it handy, and try to set up a call as soon as you see this, so that way he can get on the phone with you. And I would encourage that, because as you can tell, he knows his stuff inside and out, and I still haven't found a question that he hasn't been able to answer very quickly. So I just want to say, Jonathan, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this information with us. Thank you for educating me so I can share that with my friends and others. And man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see chiropractic practices flourishing, because now we can invite all of that 80 to 90% of chiropractic patients that are not coming to see us because they don't know about us, that now are going to be very excited to come see us to primarily lose some weight, but then be introduced to the benefits of chiropractic care and a chiropractic lifestyle. So thank you for tuning in. And please, I encourage you, take a picture, call Jonathan, email him right away, so that way he can begin to help you. And hopefully you'll be like me, and you'll be part of this invisa-RED family. I am so proud of this, and I can't wait to share, this technology with all of my patients and all of my friends, because I tell you, it works. I experienced it, and I couldn't believe the results even in my own body, but I kept seeing one after the other, everybody walking out of that table consistently having some change immediately after one 15-minute treatment. And that's what got me really, really excited. because when something works that good, you know it's going to be very successful because the word of mouth is going to go out there and those patients will tell more people and more people will come. And that's how they're building success in so many practices out there, and hopefully yours too very quickly. Okay, God bless you, and I will see you guys real soon. And please make sure that you recognize that this is probably one of the best times to be a doctor of chiropractic. So don't lose sight of that, but you got to take ownership of the message, and you got to make sure that we use this time when people are more aware about their health than ever to educate them as to the value of what we do, and that we are the first choice of providers that they should be considering. I'll see you soon.